With all of the shows that are confirmed and pretty much confirmed to be coming back, it's clear that cartoons on the network are safe. And if for some reason you've been living under a rock and haven't heard the news yet, there are so many cartoons coming back. Adventure Time is getting multiple spin-offs and supposedly a movie, Amazing World of Gumball making a return, and even Regular Show just announced that it's coming back with this original creator JG Quintel, which is absolutely incredible.
My mom! What?
But all of these amazing cartoons making a return to the network, it made me wonder about the other franchises that were forced to end too early. Or franchises that were just never given the chance to grow a fan base and become something special in the first place. And the first franchise that pops into my head when I think of that is OKKO Let's Be Heroes. So I guess that begs the question, or really it's just me begging the question. I mean, I doubt anybody else really cares about this thing, but it is such a thing that has been on my mind for so long. Can OKKO make a comeback? Seems plausible enough, right? I mean, plenty of other cartoons have done it. I would have never guessed that Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends could ever make a return, especially make a return before Powerpuff Girls makes a return with McCracken. That is absolutely insane to me, so anything is possible. But if you're unfamiliar with OKKO Let's Be Heroes as a series, then allow me to explain its history. The year was 2010. The network had just come out of what many would consider the dark ages for the channel. The shows that were now defunct, while the network would rather put their effort into promoting their live-action series for some reason. But like all eras of the network, that one eventually came to an end. And in its place was the cartoon that would open the doors for many others on the network. The cartoon that pulled us out of the pit that was seeing real. And that cartoon was Adventure Time. And yes, this video is about OKKO, and I will get there in just a second, I promise. But it's important that we understand exactly how it became what it was. And Adventure Time was a huge part in jump-starting a lot of post-2010s animation. Adventure Time was created on April 5th of 2010, and was the first big animated hit for the network after its edgy live-action phase. The creative team behind the show was huge and full of extremely talented storyboard artists, writers, animators, singers, and such. And as time went on and the network started to show more and more interest in animated series, more and more of the crew members would jump at the opportunity to make something of their own on the network, taking everything that they learned from Adventure Time and using it to create something of their own. Two of these people were a couple by the name of Rebecca Sugar and the other being Ian Jones-Quartey. Rebecca left Adventure Time to make a pilot for the show Steven Universe, while Ian Jones-Quartey created a pilot for Lakewood Plaza Turbo on May 21st of 2013. Both pilots were released online by Cartoon Network, a Cartoon Network that was hungry for more Adventure Time-like animated content. But it wasn't long before Rebecca Sugar's series was picked up and given the green light. And for Ian, there was a lot of attention from him from fans who begged for the pilot to become a full series, but something held the network back. Not sure what it was exactly. Could have been a problem with the material, could have been budgeting issues, but while Steven Universe and Adventure Time were in the peak of their series' popularity, the network would dust off this pilot and order a full season of the series that they would now call OKKO Let's Be Heroes. August 1st of 2017, the world would see the first official episode of OKKO Let's Be Heroes and get properly introduced to this world. OKKO Let's Be Heroes is about a kid named KO who dreams of being the greatest hero of all time. In a world riddled with crime and competitive businesses, KO is tasked with an important task like mopping floors and restocking shelves, refilling the laser nacho stands, and all while being mentored by his two best friends and co-workers, Rad and Enid, as they work to make minimum wage at Gar's Bodega. But directly across the street from the bodega lives an evil corporation led by the villainous Boxman who wants nothing more than to destroy those at Gar's Bodega. Or at least that's how the story began. Like every other successful story-driven Cartoon Network show, they would focus on setting the tone and releasing episodes that could stand on their own for the greater part of the first season. The first half of the first season would be about KO's ambitions to become a level 100 hero, and to be the city's definitive savior. Boxman would send one of his dispensable robot children to terrorize the plaza, and KO, Rad, and Enid would destroy it. And then the cycle would continue and continue and continue and continue. Send robots, destroy them. Boxman sends more robots, they destroy them. All in a quest to become the world's greatest hero. But as the cycle continued, he slowly started to realize just how little anyone else cared. Not about him specifically. Everyone adores KO, but he started to see that the world that he made up in his head wasn't the complete truth. In reality, heroes and villains just exist. They're able to live in the same space with each other. And for your average hero, it isn't about saving the world. It's more about living in it. Finding ways to navigate through life. Sure, being a level 100 hero could be cool, but how important is that ranking? If you're a good person who is there to do the right thing, then you'll build a community who will stand behind you when the bad things do happen. Kind of goofy, I know, but its message is really genuine. And KO took that message to heart. But another part of him wasn't so happy to hear it. The series up until this point seemed innocent enough. A kid wants to be a hero, but is beginning to learn that the relationships made along the way are just as, if not more important. Pretty straightforward for a children's cartoon. But Ian was placing the threads for an overarching story in the background all along. Even though KO felt like he had learned an important lesson in valuing his friends more than a power rating, a part of him buried deep beneath his pillowy, sweet, and naive character felt powerless, felt weak, felt as if they couldn't protect the plaza, then no one could. That dark piece of him wanted more than a rating. He wanted power. And a certain villain that goes by the name of Shadowy Figure preyed upon that insecurity. An insecurity buried deep within himself. Him not feeling needed by his friends. Not knowing how to control his powers. Him not knowing his father. All of these insecurities manifested into a version of KO that he had never experienced before. TKO. This would be a major plot point in the series going forward, with KO and his friends trying to make him overcome his dark side. And although this plot point was able to go through an almost complete arc, the series as a whole was setting up many more plot points to come. But unfortunately, those loose ends would never truly be tied back together. As OK KO Let's Be Heroes continued on the network would start to play it less and less, and instead they would rely heavily on Teen Titans Go reruns. Because as unfortunate as it is, it's easier for an audience to get into episodes of a series that doesn't have a long-term overarching story. People wonder why Teen Titans Go is played so much. This is why. So Teen Titans Go would take the forefront of attention while KO's overarching story was being forced to take a back seat. Adults who watched the network had no problem keeping up with KO's story, but they couldn't keep it alive themselves. And whether we liked it or not, kids' attention spans were dropping, which led to OK KO's viewership dropping substantially, despite the fact that the story was only just starting to take off. Even with the viewership dropping, there are plenty of other ways for the network to make money off the franchise. Or so you'd think, but unlike what the network had done with Ben 10, Adventure Time, or Steven Universe, they wouldn't venture into the world of merchandise. All of those series were given the chance to make money outside of the series themselves. Fans had other ways to celebrate their love for a series, but KO wasn't really given that. Not completely, at least. I can't say the network didn't try. They gave KO multiple mobile video games and one console exclusive, but as time went on, you could see their faith in KO as a franchise starting to fade. And with the network's faith fading away, the creator eventually got the unfortunate news that the series would not be continuing. Ian Jones-Quartey was forced to rush the ending. Even if it meant none of the storylines having satisfying endings, there was just no way to tie up all of the loose ends within one season. So, to prematurely end the series, Ian would make the last episode, and we rushed through all of the adventures that KO was supposed to have. Yet the episodes were now behind him. Before he knew it, the plaza had changed, his friends had grew up, birthdays had went by, but none of it satisfied him, or the audience for that much. This is one of Cartoon Network's most creative series, and it had far more stories to tell, far more adventures to go on, friends to encounter. KO had more to give the world. And with the slew of Cartoon Network series making a return, who's to say that OKKO can't be given a second chance? Why does it have to be over? Because we've seen how the story ends? Screw that, the story can be rewritten. Ian had so much more in the tank, and this is a franchise that can still become big. It's Ready Player One for animation. What more could you want? And if not an OKKO revival, what about the spin-off series Ian had planned based on the Hue Troop? There's so many different things you could do with this franchise that just has so much potential, so many crossovers, so many video games, so much merchandise, PAL cards. You could do so much with this franchise, yet it is being wasted right now. I can't even express to you how much you could have done with this franchise and how successful this thing could have been. They've had crossovers with almost every single franchise. That is a complete over-exaggeration. They had about 3 crossovers, but that's okay. They still had enough crossovers for me to say that they've done more than enough to be able to have that be their thing, you know? They've had people crossover from different franchises just to come shop at their bodega for one episode. This is Ready Player One, but for animation. It's as clean cut as that. I don't understand why we aren't taking advantage of this. There's just so many different things you could do with this franchise that just has so much potential. Potential that has yet to be seen. But that can all change. So to bounce off of the question I had in my last video, other than Steven Universe, this is the series over all other Cartoon Network series that I want to have a revival. And Ben 10. Okay, you Ben 10 fans do deserve something. I know you brothers are starving, okay? And I'm starving too. I'm hungry over here. Us Steven Universe fans don't get anything, okay? We don't get anything, alright? But I'm with you. Hashtag revive Ben 10. We'll make the hashtag, post it. We'll get it. It'll trend maybe. Who knows? But with that, where Cartoon Network is heading at the moment, I say there is a pretty decent chance of that or any of this happening. You just never know at this point. You never know. It's as much as a surprise as it is to me as it is to you. Like I said, I would have never expected to get Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends back in any way. Yet we are. So let's have faith in what Cartoon Network is doing, and let's move forward and hope that they give us the things that the fans truly, truly deserve, as long as we're willing to support it. Let me know in the comments what show you truly want to come back. If you could only pick one, what show do you want to come back and why? Thank you.
KO has been training to become a hero, but he's not getting any results.
No!
Until a mysterious stranger comes along.
I see something in you that no one else sees.
KO!
But can KO handle the power?
You'd like me to show you how to unleash it?
Sounds great!
Don't miss the epic OKKO Let's Be Heroes special event this Labor Day after a new Teen Titans Go at 6 on your Cartoon